It must appear like the devil. Oh, uzolahleka, you're going to be thrown into the water. A cult does not need to get you involved. There is levels where they are called to initiate you by just giving you the information. Not necessarily initiate you. They will bring you into a ritual practice. That's why I said that's their language. And you are waiting for people to be flashing signs. Continue. How many nowadays do you see flashing signs? How often do they flash signs? Even Jay-Z, I'm talking about Jay-Z, does not even do the rock sign. The sign of thingy which we see people, the Illuminati. He doesn't flash that sign. If you go back, you'll find out that he was actually sued for flashing the sign. People don't get wisdom. Jay-Z was sued. Jay-Z didn't just stop. So you want to dismiss that, and you are waiting for people to be flashing signs. Continue. We've moved places. Don't worry, we'll talk about that later. In my recent interview with KK, we spoke about something that some people seem not to like, and I want to point it out, and I want to explain why. Understanding it the way I'm putting it is very important. Spirituality Show, daily Christian commentary videos. Other episodes down today, they'll be down in the pinned comments. And this is the particular comment that's got some people not liking.
Yeah.
So not everybody. There is a level at which people are actually taught this particular information. Yeah. Now, you brought up the question pointing out. So you had that point that I was just saying. This idea that people on social media like to paint as if every person in the industry is in the occult or something like that. These ideas are very flawed. But I want to explain a little bit more into it, but I'll play a little bit more of it so that you can hear. Not everybody is a part of. You can teach at a level, you teach the information and people don't have to be a part of it. So stop saying everybody is a Mason.
Yeah.
TikTokers.
Yeah.
Stop it. Because someone raised a finger, or I dare not raise a finger because
they're going to screenshot you and be like, yeah.
That point got some people that if certain people raise certain fingers, they're like, okay, what if the person does it repeatedly? This means something else in sign language, right? These things mean other things. And also, even us, we say, oh, clever. Like this. We say it like that. So, is that person satanic? Or is that person in the occult? No, they are not. The thing that I'm trying to impress here is there is a level at which membership is not required. One person up at the top teaches it down. You see, that's important. I said that rightly. There is a level at which information is taught to people without having them become members. You brought up the question pointing out the issue of why did they start it. The main reason was elitism. I've just mentioned something again, okay? That will not only make you alert of the occult, but also of the people that teach these things without having you become members. That's the point I'm trying to point out. This is what in the previous episode with KK I mentioned was the evolution of this thing, as Adam Weishaupt had put it, the founder of the Illuminati, is that Freemasonry or Illuminati ideologies should appear in society not as themselves. They don't need Satanists coming out to say Jesus is not Christ. They don't need that. They can start a church, a cult church. They can start they can invite spirits and get some of these demonic pastors to come and join in and build a cult where those pastors will discredit the Bible. They don't need everybody to be a member. The goal, you have to focus on the goal of these organizations. It's elitism, meaning what? For example, the subject matter of what most of these organizations deal with is something called esoteric teaching. By esoteric, it's something that is taught to a few people, or intended for, or it is to be understood only by a small group, so they can have a saying out in the public. Right? They have a saying out in the public that can be used randomly, but it is only understood at the core root of it by elites, by people up at the top. I'll give you an example. Out of chaos births order. This is very, very common saying. It's a common saying that, there might be some type of chaos that's happening in a certain area, or something, or a relationship birthing, starting up some type of chaos, and then they will use this term, and to a point where even in society you will hear people using this term. But people do not even realize that that term is actually coming. It's an esoteric idea. It's the idea it's the idea of what you see with the Freemason bird, the bird of Freemasonry. They say that it dies and it turns into ashes. When it turns into ashes, it is birthed. It births a new thingy. I forgot the name of the bird. What's the name of that bird? Someone will remind me down in the comment section. See, that's what the intention is that it dies as itself, or it shows itself in one way, hides, and then it teaches the ideology, so that Satanism or satanic practices or satanic or demonic practices just become normal. It becomes the norm. They don't need people to join thingy. In the first episode, what I explained was, priesthood. And I explained priesthoods are people that are very deep into these practices and all that type of stuff. An individual, in this episode, I also mentioned another person. I mentioned an individual like Epstein in this particular episode. I'll leave it down in the description below. I mentioned Epstein. There was something that was discovered in one of his islands that he owned. Mandams was rich for days, okay? That he was conducting research on DNA and herbs and medication, and this research that he was doing was to enhance his sex rituals, submission, and all these type of things. I didn't mention those things, all of those things here, but that's what some of these medicines were for. You can go online and Google the flowers that Epstein was researching and look up what they are for. They create a submissive. It's very weird, strange stuff. And so at that level, he's practicing sex practices. He's practicing sex practice or sex worship at a level of priesthood. Now, this is why he always had people. He's now teaching the practice without having them join. That's a dog. Okay, like I said, we've moved places, so you're gonna hear dogs now. So this is very important to understand, so that you can recognize when a person is teaching you something that's occultic in nature. So the point I'm mentioning there, even when you see people dismissing it, be very careful with that, because the important thing here is you have to understand it's not everybody that's gonna be like, hey, wanna be a Mason? No. That's not going to always be the case. What's going to happen is that it builds a hierarchy to a point or to a level where they now can teach you practices or smaller rituals or whatever it is to initiate you into something without having you be part of the big thing. If that point does not click to you, you're going to miss a lot of things. You're going to miss a lot of things. I mentioned also, I can't remember if it is on this episode or the previous episode, that there are people who are also practicing these occultic practices using African traditional practices publicly. So you'll see them on television, you'll see them wherever you see them, saying that they are practicing African spirituality. It is not. they come to a level of priesthood to where now they allow people in. So meaning part of their practice is to bring people into that thing, into that practice. But they know what they worship at the back. But they are told now at a level, practice this thing in this manner. So now you recruit now. You see it on television, you see it what. So when you'll think, oh yeah, this person just loves the madlosis. It's not the madlosis. They are now at a level of priesthood. You won't know it. Ritual is their language. There are certain people you'll talk to. Once they hear that you engage in some of these things, they'll start asking you certain questions and whatnot. They will get into all this ritual talk, which I'm not into. So the point that I am making there, it's a very important one. But because you are obsessing about doing signs and what, and you think everybody that does signs is a member. Not everybody is a member. Some people are taught at a lower level of ritual. There are organizations, satanic organizations, especially back in the 2015, 2012, the organizations that were showing themselves as Freemasonry. I think I used to even have a video. One day I'll show you the video. There was a satanic organization. I don't know if the guy was from Ghana or what it was. They were showing themselves as Freemasonry. And it was not Freemasonry. It was a seance, a communication with dead spirits, basically. It was not Freemasonry. But they used the big name in order, because you know the big name, they were plastering adverts all over the streets. The point of this is so that you can understand. Cults look for people on the basis of what your interest is. Some people are not going to go to Satanism. Some people just want, just communication. So they will not kill an animal. They want to. So you'll be brought to a seance where you just talk to a spirit. Just set the mood, talk to a spirit. And then the person will have confirmations that what they were praying about was heard. Then you go to other places where they will have all manner of different rituals. There are some churches, they'll do water rituals, but they'll tell you go fetch water here, go fetch water here. You'll ask yourself, what's the difference between water here and water here and water here? It's the spirit that inhabits this type of water, the spirit that inhabits this type of water, and the spirit that inhabits this all. It's all water. But don't be ignorant. Don't be looking for one type of Satan. Hey, don't be going out into the world looking for one type of Satan or one type of demon. And then if it's not that demon, it's not. You're going to have problems. If that's what you're using to say, there's no killing of animals, there is no animal sacrifice, there is no blood, there is no sacrifice anyone or anything, and so that's good. You are entering problem. This spirit worship, it looks for areas of temperament, areas where they can cause a deception, where they can cause you to believe one thing when they know very well later on it will change to something else. If you are out in the world looking for one devil who's demonic, slaying people, killing people, you'll be very deceived. The devil has many faces. The Bible calls him a wolf in sheep clothing. Does that sound like someone who's going out there killing? No. So this idea that I'm talking about here will help you identify when a person is functioning as a priest, trying to teach you a ritual you as a lower level should not be getting into. There was one particular lady who was introduced to Ubungoma 3-4 years ago. She's a South African celebrity. We did a video. We watched her video. 4 years ago, when she got into Ndumba, the Sangoma opened a Bible. That very same person who wanted to see a Bible, when she went to the Ndumba, they showed her a Bible. This ritual evolves. So if you're being told, it's like all these things about, let me not get into that. All these things of rings, Hey, there's rings. I'll talk about that on a different episode. I'll talk about that on a different episode so that you will understand. Ritual evolves. Esoteric show to daily Christian commentary videos. Ukuhlakanipha. Learn the evolution. See the evolution. See how does it transcend. How does it evolve. It's oh, okay. You distinguish that. You will know when a person is crossing the line. You will know when a person is crossing the line. But if you want the default information, no problem. You're waiting for people to flash signs. Continue. Esoteric, we're done.